It's a big challenge. Uh, you know about uh, culture is regularly changed. Cultural approach is changed gradually because rural people, they have the time when we are working, that time is not electricity in whole over the country. We are going to the village. We are organized village people to develop some activities to their social problem. We identify the social problem, create a groups, and we are developing social issues in front of the poor people.
Why knowledge matters. Welcome, Sisir Dutta and Sarmin, to Why Knowledge Matter. It's such a pleasure to have you both on the show. And Sisir Dutta, you are truly a visionary and a pioneer in culture-based alternative development approach that founded in 1994 the Bangladesh Institute of Theatre Arts, an NGO that is really today world known. And your success really speaks for itself. And I really am so glad and so grateful that you're willing to participate in this session today. So first and foremost, welcome and thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for yelling. Okay, fine. I spelling your name is correctly.
Excellent.
Okay. Because you know about 1994, Bangladesh social cultural condition is quite different because long time Bangladesh continue after independence. Bangladesh started their democratic journey 1975. Our father of nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, killed by the military coup. Some military person killed not only for Bangabandhu, totally his total family crushed to the military coup. And after a long time, in 80s and 70s, most of the time continue our country is a military rules, no democratic practice in Bangladesh. In 98, so big revolution against people, revolution against, especially for military law rules. That's why we are starting our activities frequently and freely in the little bit democratic atmosphere that time. And this period started BITA in 1994. Before I am working with one newspaper as a journalist, and also my total activities in Bangladesh is especially for cultural activities and cultural activists in my identity, especially that time. I am working in the theater, writing poetry, working in the newspaper. That is a long 20 years I'm running to my casual, especially for this type of activities. And this type of activities is totally based on urban, based on city, based on middle class family of people of the Bangladesh. You know, uh, the long time we are struggling, especially for militarism. That's why we try to develop new concept in our development arena. That is, 90s, it is a really traditional type of development activities ongoing. We are findings and thinking some of the cultural activists we are meet together and sit together, and we are thinking how culture is a major tools of incorporating development initiatives. And this is not only first starting in the Bangladesh. You know about Amartya Sen, the renowned economist, economist, Bengali. He is Nobel laureate. She is inspired our activities, especially for human rights and economics, and especially for people's rights, and so many ideas coming from Amartya Sen the time. And he is inspired and generate to the developing our idea, especially to relate to development. In development without culture, development is not fulfilled in the major people, because not only economic development for the reduce to the poverty. I think mental development is the most of the important thing. People are not too mentally equipped to face to the poverty. Only for economic program, not any good result for the development arena. That's why we are try to develop how culture is the important part of development. 1994, we have started our activities. Especially, we are thinking that time grassroots activities, grassroots people, especially our country, you know about most of the part agriculture based, most of the part village, but only few percent people stay in city. That's why our cultural elements, traditional cultural elements, very much strong in the village area, village arena. That's why we try to collect our traditional tools who are practiced in our grassroots level. We identify these tools, especially using to conscious people. Consciousness of the people, most important. Awareness of the most people, most important work with us, BITA especially. We are thinking people first aware, then she or he decided how he how he manage or how he demand place to the uh, authority or society to make their demand as a demand to develop their livelihoods and life. That is our primary concept and primary activities. We are not to influence any theoretical perspective. We are influence our society, our cultural traditions, and our cultural behaviors. This is two, three things is the major idea generating of culture and development. It is new thought for Bangladesh, not for thought for all over the world. I think before there are some people, some organization maybe thinking or some work, but Bangladesh, this BITA is the pioneer of this thinking and this work study in Bangladesh. I don't know exactly. You are. I just tell you uh, long answer.
What really initiated you to do this initiative and to put in place now such a successful non-profit organization, non-governmental organization in place? Where there's something in your youth that inspired you, whether your parents or friends, to get engaged in international development, specifically in Bangladesh, which is also really the hub in the world for international development, and especially non-governmental organizations?
You know about, it's a very interesting question, Yannick. Yeah, you know about the two type of development activities in 90s, especially. One, I think, a right-based approach, especially that time is coming. One of the economic-based activities. Bangladesh traditionally work in the so many microfinance institutions. They are doing very well in the microfinance institution, but gradually they are only for microfinance institution. They are doing only for the financial matter, but people lives and people livelihood and people's rights, it is really ignored. And all of the NGOs and non-government organizations very much concentrate in the microfinance institution, build a microfinance institution. It is a first time, I think, when I started the microfinance, that time it is a one big tools, especially for the women empowerment and women involvements. Gradually, they lost their identity, and it is a gradually they have a developing this big microfinance networking in the all over the country, non-government organizations. But it is only for economic trade. This is going to be economic perspective, and economic trade is most of the important part. Among this is some um, institution only for concentrated in the non-government organization in especially in microfinance, BRAC, Grameen, ASHA, so many stalwart organizations in our country, Rushika, and lots of organizations are developing in the as a microfinance institution. I think now, 30 years, 40 years before, they are starting. It is continued. Still now is a very lots of organization working in the Bangladesh, especially in microfinance issue. But right-based organization is it is not only for few organizations in Bangladesh, non-government organization. They are starting their right-based approach work, especially we are organized women, especially we are organized children for their rights, especially for education. And gradually, right-based organization introduce some major social issues like trafficking is one of the most important issues in Bangladesh. Early marriage, this is the most important issue in Bangladesh. Dowry, women rights, this lots of issue, women security, this lots of issue is coming in the right-based approach. Decent work, place, and child labor, lots of things are coming gradually in 90s, in the earliest 90s. This time, I think we BITA thinking about how right-based approach incorporating the cultural approach, how cultural approach contributing to the right-based approach. And we are thinking the cultural approach, minimum, I think they have a developed by united people, poor people especially. Cultural tools, we are using cultural tools in the grassroots level to develop their uh, activities, develop their initiatives and other things. Especially, I tell you one thing, uh, cultural-based approach easily to communicate people to their rights approach. This is the different type of development initiatives in Bangladesh.
What was the major challenges to actually bring your ideas to the grassroots people in Bangladesh?
Because I think it's a it's a big challenge. You know about culture is regularly changed. Cultural approach is changed gradually because rural people, they have the time when we are working, that time is not electricity in whole over the country. We are going to the village, we are organized village people to develop some activities to their social problem. We identify the social problem, create a groups, and we are developing social uh, issues in front of the poor people, especially when they organize and they produce something through theater, through puppetry, through music, and they have little bit confident, develop confidence itself. This confidence, I think, one of the major component for the change their approach, change their lifestyle, because they are thinking poor, they have a no capacity, they have a no way to. It is totally they are thinking this is absolutely their dependency of uh, people. Gradually, when they are trying to organize, do something, they have gradually one kind of confidence built. And this confidence gradually, uh, especially this confidence, uh, very much develop their idea generating and unity. Unity is the most important thing in grassroots level to do some things. And we are going to grassroots level because most of the people, our country, they are staying grassroots. That's why without grassroots development, without grassroots upliftment, this is other upliftment is not sustainable. That's why we are thinking grassroots is the most of the important area to necessary development for the human being.
Yeah, and it makes so much sense. I mean, just when we take generally learning, right? We can't really learn anything if you don't have a sense of confidence in ourselves and our ability to actually learn. So, and it really, I think there it really comes true, your brilliant idea that you put forward in 1994, really. That's why you are a visionary. And when I talk to friends here in Ottawa, dear friends that you also know, for example, Dr. Monroe Chaudhry, they talk so highly of you because the, the impact that you have on your country and your organization is really, really profound. So I commend you on your work that you are doing. Now, I see that your funding every 3 to 4 years basically doubled. And now we are talking about, hundreds of millions of funding that you are actually handling. What was the major challenges, that you faced in order to somehow make sense and also uh, uh, manage this funding in terms of people and so on?
Okay, I think this is the depend on, about uh, especially sometime we are struggling for the uh, managed funding, especially for our approach. Sometimes it is the especially when I am giving you one example, small. When coming to the, about Rohingya issue is a big crisis in Bangladesh. So many Rohingya coming from the Myanmar to stay in Bangladesh. The time we are thinking to the United Nations organizations and other organizations. The culture is the most of the important tools, especially for developing social cohesion. Otherwise, social cohesion is and peace building. This is also built by the cultural approach. First time they are not too agreed. First time they are thinking we are very much involved to the NGOs in the rehabilitation, in the education program, in the food crisis program, and food shelter, which is the major issue. Okay, refugees issues is shelter, food, and settlement is most of the important issue. Simultaneously, their behavior change is the one of the important area. But it is not too possible to make a shelter, make a food, make a rehabilitation. It is also some initiative dialogues, some initiatives intervention, some initiative creativity, and some initiative to the especially creative education. It is important to develop traumatized people who are coming from the own country. They left their own country. They are either as a refugee or as a stateless people. This is one kind of, I think, important area. We are managed, especially not all time we are financially growth is same level. Sometimes we have a level and sometimes we have a decrease in our activities. Especially some of the donor agency, they are not too all time interested to the sorry cultural approach introduced in their activities. That time now the globally changed donor agenda is different type of agenda. They are sometimes thinking culture is one of the important part. Most of the people, most of the donor agencies, not to involve culture is one of the big tools in the development process approach. And that's why some of the organizations like UNICEF, like Oxfam, Save the Children, they are very much involved in some activities and some of our ideas. That's why we are gradually growing because we have managed this fund especially for professional approach and organization development is one of the most important area. When you see our profile, you just see so many steps we are step to step we are coming, especially for first time organization development, staff development, and financial assistance, policy, and everything gradually developing. And ultimately, we have run this project or money to professionally, especially for skilled people. They have managed this total system. It is possible to develop this type of institution building, going to the institution building. It's a big challenge. Now, institution building is the most important part for the continue of this type of organization. Last 25, 26 years, we are working. We are just, now we are thinking how we manage to totally develop our ideas as an institution. Institution is one of the most important.
Would you attribute the success how Bangladesh handled so far, like crises such as the refugee crisis with the Rohingyas, for example, to a large extent to organizations like yours that put the emphasis on the grassroots level, because it could be very easily escalate to some extent, because we know that the resources are very limited in Bangladesh and there are many people who are, living under the poverty line.
Yeah, that's very true. But I think some of the issues which we face that through the uh, using the cultural tools when we go to a community, then it works a little bit differently actually. You see, when we face such kind of crisis, we also try to actually face the challenges. Okay, I was talking about that. That's very true. There are lots of problems like that, but we try to face the challenges from the involving the grassroots people with some of the awareness program, so that we may solve the issues.
That's why